student athletes headed back into the courtroom over Connecticut's transgender sport policies that allow men to compete in women's sports. The women say the rule puts them at an unfair disadvantage. Selina Soule is a track athlete from Connecticut challenging the policy, and Christiana Kiefer is her lawyer and a senior council member of the Alliance Defending Freedom. Thanks to the both of you for being here. Selina, what happens to women's sports in Connecticut if you're unsuccessful?
Women's sports in Connecticut are being robbed. I was forced to compete against biological males throughout all 4 years of high school, but I was beaten out by them many times. I raced against them over a dozen times. I lost out on qualifying spots for their meets, better placement, and possibly even scholarship opportunities. And it was a very frustrating and heartbreaking thing to have to go through. And I just want to ensure that no other little girl has to experience the pain and heartbreak that I went through in high school.
Christiana, you are appealing a district court ruling that said there is no dispute to resolve here because the two transgender athletes in question graduated. So they're out. There's no case in controversy currently in existence. How do you come back against that?
Well, that's simply wrong. What we're asking the appellate court to do is to allow our case to move forward because there are records that need to be corrected. Multiple times, our clients were the fastest girl in a race, and they were not rightly acknowledged as such. Those records need to be fixed, and that's one of the reasons that we've asked the court to allow us to return and make our full case under Title IX, because girls like Selina deserve to compete on a level playing field.
Selina, I have two very little girls. I live in Connecticut. As they get older, what can I do to prevent them, keep them from having to compete against biological males? Because as a protective dad, I don't want them to get hurt, and I want them to have a chance to compete fairly, to view their dreams, to go after their dreams, and not be like dominated by a 6'5" dude who's pretending that he's a woman.
We need to make sure that state legislators as well as the CAC take initiative to protect women's sports and ensure that every little girl in Connecticut, including your daughters, will have their fair opportunity to not only participate but win in the sports that they love.
Christiana, with all the hard-fought gains under Title IX for women's sports, why is the left seemingly willing to throw all that away? Because let's be brutally honest, many on the left are the ones that fought for those very Title IX protections.
You're exactly right. And I think it's a really scary prospect that the Biden administration is pushing a complete redefinition of Title IX that's not only unlawful, but as we've seen in the state of Connecticut, will absolutely devastate women's sports.
Selina, what's your guess as to what the future of women's sports looks like, not just in Connecticut, but nationally, let's say 5 years from now?
I am very optimistic that women's sports will be preserved as women's sports, and Title IX will stay the way that it was written 50 years ago.
I mean, this makes no sense. I was told that the future is female, but it seems like many people are trying to erase that future for females, just as their rights were fought for and achieved through Title IX. Makes no sense. Christiana, Selina, keep us posted. We appreciate your time this morning.